All right, good morning, everyone. Well, it was a really nice start to the day, right? But we knew storms were going to be in the picture today, just all about the timing and, of course, intensity of them as well. So, obviously, we have a quick update to that. As you guys can see here behind me, we are now into our alert day mode. Our coverage on this alert day setup will start on the midday show at 11 a.m. I'm with meteorologist Brian Good. Hello. Happy Thursday, Friday Eve for you guys. Let me just start off right out of the gate. First off, there's no severe weather happening now anywhere within wave country. And the chances on the severe risk here today that'll take place this afternoon tonight will come in different phases. So that's going to be a bit exhausting on being weather aware versus a typical system that would have just one round of storms move through and then it's over with. This is going to be a bit different. We're going to have at least two, maybe more, but right now we're thinking at least two. And the first of which is going to happen here fairly soon. It's rolling in out of Illinois. That'll be here for part of the area this afternoon. And then we're going to get a long little break where it's basically around 80 degrees outside, partly sunny. You're going to be like, well, where are the storms? We don't get the sense of that. And you'll be right. There will be a long break that will happen in between the first round and then the second one, which will be later tonight into the overnight hours, which is not good, of course, to see that take place. So this is kind of a weird setup there where it'll just depend on the different waves and where you're at within our 30 counties we serve on whether you get impacted by one, both of them, or miss them entirely, which is going to be a little tough to do there. But hopefully that'll explain what I'm about to show you as we get through the next little bit. As always, you guys can comment and question. I have a hard time always seeing the real small font there. So just hang tight. Look, Ashley, I see you're in here as well. Hang tight, and I'll get to you in just a second, okay? Let me explain the setup first. We'll begin there, and then what I'll do is I'll hopefully, in the process of me doing that, I would have most of your questions already answered for the area, for timing, aspects, locations, and intensity, all that stuff. I want to go through all of it, and hopefully I'll try to clear up some of the mud there. All right, so let's start with the look outside. It's always nice to start with a quiet view, right? Again, beautiful out. We've got a few mid to high level cloud decks that are in the area, but it's warm. We were in the 60s this morning. Didn't drop very much at all, only in the 50s across the region. In fact, right now we're at 62. 60 at Fort Knox, 63 in Paoli. So we're already warming things up decently, and we're going to get well into the 70s before the first round. We'll try to interrupt some of that, especially for Indiana. So as we look at the satellite, you can see the cloud bank, again, kind of scattered across the I-64 corridor. You got a little more cloud cover, certainly north and west. You know, you see the action showing up on the radar, too, behind the banner at the top. But look at Kentucky. Much of you in central Kentucky, again, very quiet, not much happening across central portions of the Commonwealth. But then we head to what is the first little spoke of severe weather. The good news is I have not seen a tornado warning here in the past 10 minutes come out for this batch of storms that passed through St. Louis. Several funnel clouds, wall clouds were sighted in that area. Several reports of small to medium size on hail over severe limits, over a quarter size, that came through on the northern side of the St. Louis metro area. And now it's targeting mainly into central areas of Illinois. This is what we're going to be watching, is going to be this little tail, if you will. You got to look at it as having a little bit of a waggly tail there, the core of it across Illinois. It's going to have more due east than anything. So that is going to be a target for Indianapolis, IU, as well as, I would say, Paoli into Jackson County, Seymour, and Jennings County all the way to Cincinnati. That zone... let me redraw this. This is the zone we'll need to watch for some of those stronger thunderstorms that are going to be rolling on out in your area. Very much clipping under northern counties. The problem, and this is where the data is kind of iffy on, because we do not launch weather balloons here locally in Louisville. They do up in Ohio. They do in Nashville. We don't have them locally. So we're only trying to gauge a little bit about how the atmosphere is on the capping or the lid in the atmosphere, which we are developing in the area and have one in Kentucky. How much of that is going to protect us as that line moves through for those of you in central and southern Indiana? Will that cause the line to either fade out or cause the line to actually bend and become more east-west? It basically senses the cap and just kind of drags itself and becomes more horizontal, and then basically just drifts and fades out. Both scenarios are indeed at play. So it's not a guarantee this first round is going to impact even Louisville or even certainly central Kentucky. In fact, it's unlikely it will. But if you're just north of the city, this line could certainly pose a damaging wind and a hail threat. as it moves on by. So here is one of the latest warnings. Hold on, getting rid of the spammer here in just a second. I'm sorry to bother you. Okay, well, you are bothering me. So you got to go. All right, how do I get rid of you? Let's see. Hold on. Why did they make it so much more difficult? Don't click on anything, guys. Don't click on anything. All right. Well, apparently I can't. I can't block this person. Man, how did they get so smart? Okay. Well, don't click on anything like I've been doing. The classy long paragraph. Don't click on that. All right. Bad news. Bad news. Ignored it. All right. So here are the warnings that are out. And these are all severe thunderstorm warnings. I do not see any of the boxes with a black outline, which would indicate a tornado possible. Most of these are just mainly hail and strong damaging winds. And this is going to be right along I-72 all the way down to I-70 on the western side of I-70 into the St. Louis area. Tell you what, St. Louis had a tough morning because their main radar is down. So they're having to use a lot of backup products, and the terminal radar at the airport at Lambert, which we have one too. Ours is located a little closer to Mount Washington, Kentucky. It has a very narrow range that it can work with. So they have ways to detect, and obviously the other radar beams in Illinois, Indianapolis, Chicago, even Paducah, I'm sure, is helping out today. They're trying to make sure this line gets coverage on it. But what a tough morning to have tornado warnings in your radar is not at full capacity there, right? Well, it's moving in now. You see the most latest little flare-up is actually ahead of the line. So there's two different lines that have formed here. Whoops, hold on. There we go. Two different lines, one there, one in advance of it. But this is the line to watch as it moves off to the east and moves right into central Indiana. Again, my concern on this, and it's mainly your concern as well, how much of this tail portion of this is going to scoot right across the Louisville area? Well, looking at just the fuel side of things, the fuel does certainly build over the next 4 to 5 hours in advance of it. So this line is likely not going to weaken. It will become stronger as it moves into Indiana. Notice the fuel limit is very much along the Ohio River. It does drop off significantly as you get into Kentucky. So right now we're thinking this is a Southern Indiana show. There's enough wind shear, certainly for damaging winds to take place, but it will not last very long. This is not a significant tornado outbreak, just FYI. This is just a batch of severe thunderstorms that can produce large hail in some cases, a lot of damaging winds. And yeah, there is an isolated tornado threat with this. It's not overly high. And if I had to place it on a high scale, north to south or south to north in this case, it would be found right in the portion here of the line that is going to skim right across our northern counties. Timing on that looks like it's going to be roughly 1 to 3, maybe 1 to 4 p.m. is what I'm putting on it. And I will have to keep adjusting that, to be honest, because storms like this, as you see there, the line that formed ahead of the other line, well, with it forming a new line right in advance of it, that just sped up another hour on the tracking ability of that line of storms moving into Indiana. So roughly 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Could be a little closer to the 1 if it continues to get a little faster. So that's stage 1, set 1, if you will, of the system rolling through. Part 2 is back here to areas of Arkansas. Hasn't really formed yet. This tail does extend, by the way. It doesn't show up very well, but it does extend all the way down into the Ozarks. It, too, will begin to fire up storms here very soon, and that, too, will begin to lead to a more significant severe weather event for Arkansas that will then move into parts of Tennessee and basically combine. Our tail portion here is going to be very slow to head east. This portion is moving fast, but this portion is going to be very slow. So what you end up with on Futurecast is just a big disorganized area blob here of showers and thunderstorms that'll be just sinking to the south and east during the overnight. That'll be wave 2 that we're talking about. Timing on that one, I'm thinking right now is perhaps as early as 9 p.m., more likely midnight, ending hopefully by 3 or 4 a.m., but possibly not until 6 a.m. So still some questions on that second piece there. So there will be plenty of dry time in between all of this. Make sure I'm clear on that, where temperatures, again, can easily get to about 80 or so for this afternoon. So here's the Storm Prediction Center outlook. They just adjusted this moments ago. They decided to take that at slight risk and move it all the way through a good chunk of wave country, including Louisville, which has been a trigger for our alert day. And then you see the enhanced risk into the Ozarks. That second piece here, the second batch, is going to be certainly more intense than what we got going on in Indiana right now. Breaking down the threats by category, tornado potential. Certainly there, especially across Indiana. Your best wind shear is actually here into Illinois and Indiana. So that's a spot to watch for a few more additional tornado warnings that could get issued. But again, it drops off significantly once you get just south of that area near the Ohio River. So the threat's got limits to it. But no doubt, if you're traveling north today, be weather aware of that little band that's moving across Illinois now. These are active storms we're tracking. These are not storms we're waiting to see if they pop or not. They've popped. They're there. Now we just track them. And that is the current indicating angle of attack and speed that we got right now is that 1 to 3, 1 to 4 window. The second wave has not formed. So that timing is the reason why it's a little iffy on when it can get going. It'll start up and move to the south and east. It is entirely possible, to be devil's advocate here, it is entirely possible that you get this first round moving through, you get a cool wave or an outflow that comes out of this, and it could end up causing a more tamed environment that would form roughly through here, central southern Kentucky, around Paducah, and central Missouri. That would cause a split where you have two different areas of severe weather, one south of that line, one north of it, and then there will be a gap in between. The models have actually hinted at this a few times this week. Given the setup, it wouldn't surprise me that that may end up being the result. So yes, there is a chance for some of you that if you miss the first wave because you're too far south, and then the second wave may be too far south of you, and then you end up with very little in your backyard and you get skipped altogether. I absolutely am saying that is possible. But we don't all have that luxury of being in that one particular area. We have such a large coverage area. We got to account for really all three scenarios as this passes on by here. All right. Looking at your straight line wind potential, it's there, and that's expected. Anytime you get a line of storms or clusters of storms, they bow out. You get a backwards C almost look to it. That's when you get your straight line damaging winds. That is fairly common in this scenario. Or even just get a line in general, and the line begins to wiggle. You got to watch that for some straight line wind damage. Your largest of the hailstones will be in more in the clusters that we have, and that'll be found more into areas of Indiana. Not so much here. You could still get some dime-sized hail, something like that. I think pea-size is going to be the most common, though, as it moves on by. Let's show you this on Futurecast. And let me back it up. Sorry about that. So that you guys can see the first frame. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Let's try this again. All right. This is one of the in-house models to give you an idea. And it is going to start with a line of storms moving in out of the Wabash at 12:30. It has it there, Wabash, all the way to the IU campus. Louisville is in the 70s at this point and partly sunny. And we're like, hey, this is a nice lunch. There's nothing going on. We get to about 3 o'clock. Now they're already into the Carroll County area, coming to Kentucky, Boone County, Kentucky. So that was fast. So roughly from 1 to 3, they moved right across areas of Bedford, Indiana, Seymour, parts of Washington County, parts of Jefferson County, Indiana, and Jennings County. That is just the model's idea. If you saw the radar, there is a little bit more development more south than what is shown. So there is a chance some of that could actually skim across Harrison County, parts of Louisville Metro, all the way into the capital. That is also something we'll be watching. If that southern part starts to fade away, that will help us out in Louisville, and it's mainly going to be our northern counties that will get grazed by this band as it moves on by. But I think that 1 to 3 window, maybe up to 4, but 1 to 3 is fair for that line to move through with, again, a few warnings for damage, winds, and hail. Nothing big time here at all, but it could certainly disrupt your plans there. All right, that is reason number 1 for the alert day. Then we get into quiet weather, around 80 again for this afternoon, and be like, what is going on? And round number 2 starts to show up. Now here we are, 10 o'clock at night, still fairly quiet, very pleasant evening. But then the thunderstorms roll in. They kind of congeal together. The tail that was from Cincinnati is still there, lingering. It connects to the storms moving in out of Arkansas into Tennessee, and then you get a little more of a widespread threat of showers and storms, some which containing some very heavy rainfall, isolated damage and winds, isolated tornado possible, especially in the west at 65. Otherwise, just a wall of heavy rain, lightning, and very noisy. And it's 1 o'clock in the morning, so if you're a light sleeper, it's probably not going to be a fun night for you. Let's continue to move on through with more clusters of showers and storms all the way to 2:30 in the morning. Still active on the radar. Indiana, about 2:30 in the morning, you should be in the clear, and you can go to bed. Kentucky should be in the clear, be able to go to bed by 5:30, somewhere around there. And there you go. That's the overall timeline that we're looking at on the storm threats there. Here's the amounts on rainfall. You can see the problem that this model is going to have because it picks up where thunderstorms fall. Easily an inch, inch and a half of rain will fall in thunderstorms. Same story with the northern wave. But in areas where there could be some gapping, where you may not get influenced at all, there are some spots that are really low, less than 4/10 of an inch or barely over a quarter of an inch of rain. So rain total is going to highly vary if you get a thunderstorm or not, or even multiple thunderstorms. So we can't answer that question yet until they really get going and we see how the second round blends. Overall timing, we'll just go and give it again for the early batch of storms for the lunch hour, early afternoon. We'll relax, take a break, get some snacks, enjoy the 80-degree temperature that will be outside, and then we'll gear up and get ready for the late evening time period of showers and storms. There you go. So this may sound like a major outbreak coming through, but it's not. It's just complex because it is split into two different timings and two different areas, to be honest. And we want to make sure that everyone in our area is fully aware of the setup and potential and what we're in for today. When you see the alert day on newscast or you see social media posts and like, what is going on today? Well, this is what's going on. And hopefully that will help relax you a bit too. Now they're like, okay, well, this is manageable. I can handle this. You know, I know everyone thinks this is going to be a major outbreak this time of the year that hits at 4 p.m. or something. This one's different, a little unique. It's split into two. Indiana, maybe Northern Kentucky for the first round. All of us, for the most part, get the second round, but it'll be late night overall. Good? Everyone type 935 if you're good, 935. If you're not good, let me know why you're not good. Let's see. Brooke Ann, so this is not something to be super anxious about, just weather aware. It doesn't look like a huge risk or tornadoes in Louisville. No, it's not. It only takes one damaging storm to cause problems, of course, but this is missing some things. The setup is missing some items there that would make it a bigger ordeal. But as I said yesterday, these marginal type setups sometimes are the ones that can really cause more problems because not everyone is aware of it. There's not as much hype on social media before it and awareness. So people go out and about doing their thing. And then even a severe thunderstorm with 60-mile-per-hour winds were to breeze on by and they get impacted. And in some cases, they can get hurt. So these marginal setups do tend to sneak by in, as far as awareness go. So it's our job just to make sure that you guys are aware of what we're looking at here. And hopefully we can get things to tame down. But given the idea we're going to be right around, there's always one in every crowd. There's always one in every crowd. And hopefully we'll get things tamed down. But the idea that we're partly sunny, we're going to be around 80 today. The idea of are we going to get enough fuel or not? Are we going to get warm enough or not? Are we going to get any sun or not? Well, we already know that answer, right? So with now that at play and seeing the radar trends of what's coming our way, okay, now's the time to make sure awareness is bumped up a little more. All right. Everyone seems good. I appreciate it. I got a lot of work to do if I learn how to talk and get ready for the midday show coming up. And we'll have the latest maps and stuff come up as well. As we had another update from the Storm Prediction Center, that's going to be about 12:30, 12:40 for this afternoon. And I promise you will know when it happens. Take care, guys, and I will see you on the flip side.